Hey everyone, welcome to episode number 55 of the New Slang Podcast. I'm Thomas Mooney, and on this week's episode, we are joined by the duo shotgun rider. That would be Logan Samford and Anthony Enriquez. They're from up here in the Panhandle, and they just recently made a new record called Palo Duro. I guess it came out back in March or so. And usually, I don't ever think that what PR says about a record, they're always kind of just trying to, they're doing their job. They're trying to sell a record by, this sounds like this, and this, and this, and it's awesome and whatever. But I gotta say, their PR people, they actually kind of nailed what this record kind of sounds like. Somebody had mentioned that it was like Kings of Leon and 80s George Strait. And that's really what it kind of sounds like. It does have these 80s textures to it with some, some really great, I don't know if Kings of Leon, I don't really consider them a Southern rock band, but they do have these just kind of crunchy guitars to it. And it's all kind of set in the setting of urban cowboy or whatever. Just some old school George Strait stuff. We talk about George Strait. We talk about the making of this record, and we talk about them both being from small town Panhandle towns, and how that's all had an effect on what they write about and how they write, and their outlook and all that kind of good stuff. I have to mention, we did this about a month ago, and so we were going to put it out earlier, but then the day that we did this podcast, my engineer, he's kind of an idiot, did not do all the technical stuff right. He messed up one thing, and so the audio quality is not as good as it could have been. It's still well enough to listen to. I would suggest wearing headphones, though. It's going to probably be maxed out if you're driving your car or something. I've worked on it some here to make sure it's listenable, or as loud as possible, But yeah, so I apologize for that. And that engineer, I don't know if you realize I'm talking about myself. So yeah, if you don't follow the New Slang, go ahead and do so on all of the social media stuff. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, go to do so. Leave us a 5-star review. Yeah, I'll go and just leave it at that. Here is this interview with the dudes from Shotgun Rider. Thanks. You guys just released this new record just a couple months back now.
Yes, sir.
What's you guys were putting out EPs before that. What's it like to finally get a full length?
Really, it's been forever since we've been wanting to put out a full length, and we know we've been wanting to put out a full length for a while now. It's just financially at first, it was a lot easier on us doing the EPs, and as far as establishing our market and everything, or our markets right now that we're aiming at right now.
Yeah, it was a big leap, and we wanted to do that with after we did Panhandle EP, we wanted to already start working on the full length. It just didn't make sense yet, and so yeah, we had put out 3 EPs in 2016.
Yeah,
that might have been a little too much, but you could have made an album out of all of
it. You could have, yeah.
But and then it took us about a year and a half, and we finally got Palo Duro rolling, and I'm happy with it. I'm happy with where we're sitting.
Right. See, I thought the 3 EP, and I guess if you want to count the one before that, was kind of smart because it felt like you guys were you're staying relevant. You know what I mean? Hey, we're right here still.
Yeah.
4 months later, and then hey, we're still around because
we were just a year into our career, so it's we got to stay relevant, and we don't have. It was a lot of it had to do with the songs. It was we had a batch of songs, and it's we don't want to put out anything we're not proud of. We don't want to have fillers.
Yeah.
So sometimes sometimes we have 4 songs, sometimes we have 5,
And so, I mean, I think it had been over a year since we released Sunlight, our last record, before Palo Duro came out.
before we even started recording.
Probably a year and a half later, after Sunlight came out, is whenever we released Palo Duro.
Like where are those songs from? Are those kind of like from the same era as the EPs, or like are they really like a good time after any of that stuff came out?
It's totally different headspace and totally different. For me, having the majority of the rights on it, but for me, I was in a totally different headspace than I was in writing those other records, and then just in my life, I was in a different place, and yeah, they came from a different. I mean, it's not like crazy different from the EPs, right? But I think lyrically, I was just in a different place than I was when I was writing those, and maybe a little more mature in my writing, and a little bit more calculated with what sound we wanted to have. So for me, and then Logan had a couple cuts, and we did one co-write on this one.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we both wrote a tune called Not All Right on there, track number 4.
Right. Yeah. When I first heard I guess like the first 2 songs, I felt it was something different than you guys have been doing before. Especially sonically, it felt a little bit more.
it was strong.
Yeah, like and I know like in the press releases it was, Raised on George Strait and Kingsley.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff, which I mean like a lot of stuff like that you go, I don't care. But like in a lot of ways, like you could hear a whole lot of that.
I think, yeah, especially with the first 2 songs. I mean,
Yeah.
one's really rock and one's really country.
Yeah, I think on this record we definitely focused more on the traditional side of things, probably 90s country in particular, especially whenever I was singing some of the more traditional tunes like Lucky Him and Steady As She Goes and stuff. I really was kind of trying to go for a 90s vibe, kind of George Strait, Alan Jackson kind of feel on that.
Yeah, and then just blend that with what we had been doing, and sonically, like we had been wanting to record on a need board since we did the 7 Mile South album. We did that on a need board, and the new project we didn't have the budget, so there was all just kind of just smaller studios and knock them out. And finally, we had the budget to do a need board, and we did it half at Panhandle House in Denton, and then half in Nashville at Sound Emporium, which is great. Isbell cut his last couple records up. We were in that room with
Johnny Cash,
A-list players and everything. So yeah, sonically, it's a huge. I mean, today Logan we were listening to like I think it was Me and a Memory, and then he put on something from Panhandle EP, and you can just like it's way bigger.
You can definitely tell the difference in production.
Right. That's like one of those things where they always talk about if you go into a studio and if the ceilings are way fucking high, it just adds so much more just because you're not compressing the sound as much, right? And I feel like this record you can feel that space on both sides, and it just it's warm and there's like a velvety kind of
Warm is
touch
what I
to
keep
it.
coming back to, especially with the drum tracks, man. You go in that A room there and Sound Emporium, and just the drums just sound so fat and 70s. And the record we were comparing it to when we were doing Steady As She Goes, actually was when we were quote unquote dialing in the drums, and they were like, "What's your favorite drum sounds?" And like, "What kind of sounds can we get out of this room?" And we were like, "Rumors." Like that's what these drums are gonna sound like on Steady As She Goes. And that record sounds great sonically, but we kind of took that and then we just built on the other songs. But that's kind of what we went for, is the warmness of the record.
Right.
So
Yeah, I think like there's a few songs where you could hear like a George Strait cut, and it's really like that Lucky Him.
yeah. Which that was the only song that we've ever cut that we didn't write, actually.
Really.
It's an outside cut.
So like that just like it kind of just screams Heartbreak George Strait kind of
Yeah.
style.
That one or Nothing at All.
Yeah.
Number 5 on there.
Yeah. And of course, like even like in a lot of ways, like Texas Rain, even though there's this like epicness to it. There's an epic kind of
Right. Anthemic kind of thing.
yeah
Right.
aspect to that song. Okay, for you guys, like what is y'all's favorite era of George Strait? Like, what is y'all's? If you had to like dial in on like what on your favorite version.
And I remember when you were going through your stuff when your parents moved in from Nazareth,
Yeah.
and you found that fucking that cassette box, like the actual
Oh,
like
man, yeah.
5 cassettes of
No,
George Strait
actually,
greatest
yeah,
hits.
actually, my cousin back when I was younger, he used to come down every summer and he'd come and visit me, and we'd hang out, you know, for a couple of weeks. And well, he borrowed or stolen this straight out of the box. 'Cause
That's what it was called,
that's
Straight
what
Out of
it
the Box.
was,
Yeah.
that release, and it was like all these tapes of George Strait, like all of his greatest hits, and we started listening to it, and he happened to leave them at my house. And when Anthony and me moved to Fort Worth, my parents were also moving to Fort Worth too later on, and I was helping them move out, and we found those straight out of the box tapes.
And it actually like we had his pickup at the time, and we put it in, and we would listen to it. And I don't know I can't tell you what year. I mean, you can kind of sonically tell this is a '90s one or whatever, but you just it sounds even on cassette, it just sounds so warm, and it's like wow, like it's so much better than listening aux chord.
Yeah.
To me, to me. But my favorite George Strait song of all time is "The Chair," and so whatever era that's from, I like. It's a gorgeous song.
Yeah.
It is a good one. My favorite one, She'll Leave You With a Smile. That's probably my favorite George Strait tune.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about the "She'll Leave You With a Smile" is that he cut 2 songs called "She'll Leave You With a Smile." And
Yeah.
one's like the
Really?
big hit, and the other one is just like a cut. Like it was never released as a single or anything like that. But it is interesting. Yeah, because like when I was going through, it's like, well, did he re-record this or something? And then,
You saw both.
yeah, and then it's 2 different songs, and I can't remember. I was talking with somebody on Twitter about when artists do that, like have 2 songs called the same thing.
There,
And-
I saw something on Twitter the other day. There's 2 versions of another song. I think the Tim McGraw song.
Yeah,
Something cut.
it is.
What was it?
This is the conversation.
It
we're
might be
talking about.
Shotgun Rider. I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say it may be Shotgun Rider or it's something off.
Yeah.
Doesn't he have a record called Shotgun Rider?
No.
Or there's a record that
There's
was.
a tune that he has called Shotgun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it may be the record that's on. There may be another song, but it could be Shotgun Rider actually the song.
Yeah, and I remember seeing that too. I mean, it is. It's a totally different song. I don't know if we could ever cut a song made with the same name. It's like
I don't think.
I don't. That feels weird. It would feel weird to do that.
Just an entire record of the same.
Same song.
It would
Same song
totally have to
title.
beat up the other tune, you know, the older tune.
Yeah, I just have to knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean George Strait stuff. I mean, I think my favorite George Strait songs are the Dean Dillon songs,
Right.
and I think that's kind of like when we were first starting out, and the first song I wrote for this project was "Dance or Drink," and I was like thinking "The Chair" in my head. I said I want my version of that song, and not that it compares to it at all, but that's what I was going for. I think it's just so poetic in the way that it puts that across, and Dean Dillon's my favorite country writer of all time. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, a lot of those songs they kind of occupy the same space, and
Right.
what I would say is it's kind of like these songs are like playing out in rooms like this, right? Like
For
they're-
sure.
And a lot of those old Dean Dillon songs, they're occupying those
Yeah.
the dance halls and small dive bars. And,
Like the Empty Glass, Garrett Stewart cut. I don't know how many songs in the wrote Garrett Stewart in the back row. It occupies like that. You just see like the room. It's gorgeous what he thinks. And the melodies too, the lyrics and it's just. I love it. That's my dream co-write.
Yeah. Dean Dillon.
Yeah.
have y'all seen him or met him before?
We watched some documentary on him on Netflix. A
Yeah.
while back. I can't remember what it was called, but no, it was really good. Getting to learn about him and how his mind works a little bit.
What was it called? It's not on Netflix. We rented it on Amazon.
Was it on?
Yeah. It's like $4.
I can't remember.
We just sat there and drank whiskey and listened to him talk about
Yeah.
when he lived on a boat with fucking
Yeah.
Jimmy Buffett.
He's talking about
Did
all
a bunch
these
of blow
tunes
for
that they wrote. He did a bunch of blow, yeah.
Like just and how they came up with all these songs. It's just crazy. Dude, I'm gonna text Paul for them. Chill out. Is it bleeding through?
Just a little bit, but I mean, it's not like anything too
As
much.
long as it's not bothering.
Yeah. But yeah, yeah, these songs, they kind of occupy that space that, and I know you guys. One of the things I've noticed is it's a lot of the first person narrative. It's a lot of the thinking in the head before anything actually happens. It's the playing out in your mind a lot of the times. What is it about like that specific area of that headspace that makes you think like you guys are writing from that area, from that perspective?
I would just say I'm a very cerebral dude. We're kind of in our heads all the time, and
Yeah,
so
we're anxious about certain things that I guess it comes out in the writing and the performance.
I've
too,
never
as
really
well.
noticed that, but yeah, I mean a lot of the tunes like they just feel more relatable when it feels like you're listening to this person's thoughts and how their perception is,
Mhm.
you know, as opposed to like I don't know, as opposed to just like painting pictures
Yeah.
lyrically, like just what is your thoughts doing, how do you
Yeah,
perceive
and
it?
we'd like other people to know that, you know, they're not alone, you know, if they're feeling that way, like in their head and not feeling the greatest at times, maybe depressed or
It's almost like a '90s grunge thing because we're huge of that Seattle sound, and a lot of that stuff was really like Alice in Chains stuff, or even like post like when Stain came out and stuff. And a lot of those like lyrically, it's that kind of headspace. And that's
Right.
all that gravitated towards.
Right. Yeah. One of you guys said like the anxiety. I've not really thought about that, but there is a little bit of that dose of like the where it's the not knowing, the unforsureness, the not being totally, I guess like not necessarily not positive, but like not being sure of yourself, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of the watching her, watching me kind of stuff, and like trying to figure out what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that really a lot of people can relate to that, obviously, and it takes a couple of beers or drinks to finally go, okay, gotta move.
Another empty, and I can see me walking up to me. Yeah, I think we embrace that, man. We could write a really like just straightforward but that's just not really our personalities. I mean, I would say that's where the honesty comes from in our lyrics. Is like even some of the more poppy sounding tunes or whatever. Like there's always this kind of like current of apprehension, almost, just because that's just kind of
yeah,
how
there's, and I think in any song there's some kind of, you know, hurt going on or frustration going on
Yeah.
in every song.
Yeah, like even like I said, like Sway with me, like it has this like yes, it's kind of like this
Yeah.
kind of feel good, laid back tune, but then you listen to the lyric and it's this
That song.
sad loneliness.
Yeah,
going
that could be a song. You know, that when we were writing it, you know, I mean, about a girl that we wish that we could have had. You know,
Right.
something like that.
Obviously, like a lot of people, they go solo. They go, I'm gonna be the singer-songwriter. I'm honestly kind of surprised there's not more, you know, duos or just songwriting partnerships. You guys are
Right.
doing that. First off, like what led y'all to deciding to do this together?
I think just
circumstance.
yeah,
really.
circumstances going through, you know, other band breakups and stuff, and I think we just had to, you know, we decided to move on from that, and it kind of grew into this. Hey, let's just do a duo. Let's make this like a Brooks and Dunn type of thing, you know, make
Yeah.
it 50-50.
A lot of, I can't really think of very many other Texas acts. I honestly can't think of one right now that's like a duo of Powell Brothers,
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah.
Um,
There's somebody else.
See, like I think like Sons of Fathers, but like that, you know, that was
Okay.
like Paul Cough and David Beck, and they broke up. But like that was one of those things where I'm like,
Or damn close.
yeah,
Yeah.
why aren't there more bands doing this? Because I always feel like if you're struggling as a singer-songwriter by yourself, like if you team up with another guy or girl, you're taking some of that pressure off of having to write 10 great songs.
Yeah.
You only have to, you're taking, not necessarily that you're thinking about that, but like whenever you cut a record, you're thinking, oh, we got double the songs and we can choose the best from this,
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that was just just kind of us. We became really good friends. We became best friends when we were even recording the 7 Mile South EP, and like he was graduating college. I mean, I graduated college. He was graduating high school, and I've been doing like the 3-hour cover song sets, making $150 a night. And I was like, dude, come do these shows with me. I'll split the money with you. We'll make a bunch of tips.
Yeah.
And when he did, I think we just kind of, even through that band, we were always like, it was us hanging out. And like, I was writing the majority of the material and still do, and he has the vocal, and it was just like, when it came down to what are we going to do now, it was like, hey, this makes sense. Let's just do a duo, which I had never thought in my wildest dream we would do a duo.
Yeah.
It takes the pressure off of having to be in a band and having to be married to 5 other people and what they want and their lives and everything, and it takes the pressure off of, like you said, just being a single singer-songwriter guy where all the pressure's on you.
Right.
So Logan and I can be like, whatever he's
Just
better
narrows
at,
it down.
yeah, whatever he's better at, we can just trade off. It works great, man.
Yeah.
Now,
We're best
like,
friends.
do you have like, do you know like words that he sings really well, like that you kind of keep in your head going like, he can sing this kind of sound well, so let's try and, is that like what, when you're writing the song, are you thinking of how he sings it, or are you just thinking of how the
I
song?
think totally. I'm like, I mean, obviously I'm hearing how it sounds in my head, but I'm thinking of how would Logan sing that line,
Mhm.
and I can hear it. Like you could say a sentence and I know how Logan's going to sing it. Just his inflections.
Yeah.
And definitely thinking of that. I'm definitely thinking of, is this too high for Logan? Because there's a lot of times I'll bring a song to him and he says, nope, not doing it. And then a month later, well, I can maybe hit it. And then we get to the studio, okay, we'll record it. But I love writing rangy stuff, man. I think it's ballsy and
No,
rock.
it pushes me though, man. And I'll like sometimes he'll bring me a tune and I'll be like, dude, there's no way in hell I can hit that. Like, and it just, I mean, honestly, it just takes practice, over and over, playing it again, and over time you just develop muscle memory and it just comes to you.
I remember when I wrote Dancing Without Me, I had the verse and the chorus, and you walked in, and you had walked in the room, and I was in the living room in my place in Canyon, and you walked in and you were like, I was like, hey, check this out, and I sang it, and you were like, what is that? How am I gonna do that? And I'm like, you'll do it, man. Like, just give it some time. Just try it.
No, man. And I remember when
You were
showed me-
pissed. You were like,
I know.
why do you keep writing this shit?
Well, no.
You're gonna blow my voice out.
Well, you showed me All Over Me. The first time you showed me All Over Me, dude, you like nailed the song, the whole song, and like you hit every note. And I was like, and you started playing the guitar, and like I couldn't hit. Once it got to the chorus, man, I couldn't hit any of the notes, and I was like, what the heck, man? I think I was just having an off day or whatever, but we just we went from there, and I haven't had a problem since then.
Yeah.
Do you
So-
typically
It takes a little work.
are you typically like a guy who kind of writes by himself, like alone, where like you can't really have any distractions, or is a lot of times like he in the room with you and you bouncing?
I would say
things off.
my earlier stuff, like the first couple EPs that I wrote on, was definitely I did it better alone. I'm not a big fan of the 3-4 person co-writes. We've done some of those. So you can get some kind of cool stuff out of there, that more like concepts. But I would say Palo Duro, I think 3 or 4 of them I wrote them by myself. But this was the first record that Logan and I co-wrote like maybe 3 or 4 of the songs.
Yeah.
And even just having him to bounce ideas off of, like the line "I'm not alright, okay." I remember when I wrote that, I was super trash one night, and we were trying to find that line, and I was like, what? I was like, I'm not alright, I'm okay. I was like, that sounds stupid. He's like, no. Like he kind of reinforces like, hey, don't think too much about it. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And as opposed to if you just sit there by yourself, then you never know what you could have came up with.
It always helps to have a second brain there, for sure.
Yeah. See, I'm convinced like on the 3 songwriter one, or like even like there's some of those 5 ones, it's just so that one guy's the tiebreaker, you know.
Right.
Where, but I think like I love the idea of always having that one guy you can bounce ideas off of, because, like you said, sometimes you're your own worst enemy. You're the guy who's saying, no. Well, let's let's try and develop something along those lines. Let's go that route. It's always a good thing. Now, what do you, whenever like the songs are presented to you, whenever you're thinking of these songs, like, are you thinking of, I guess, like, do you have to, are you able to sing a song where you're going, well, that's not necessarily my thoughts, I know this is more him, but like, are you able to, like, I guess, morph into that character, even if it doesn't necessarily completely relate to you?
I know that, I know that anything that Anthony's going to come to me with, it's going to be, pretty much, straight fire. But I like to throw my own sense into it too, and
Are you saying like,
okay,
if I bring him a song and he's like, okay, but I don't feel exactly like that tonight. Yeah, totally do that.
Yeah. Like I get a little uncomfortable at first sometimes, but like I'm used to that, and I know that immediately going into a new song, you're going to be uncomfortable, you know, and you're not going to be familiar with it, and it's just.
Yeah, it just takes
And
some-
even like messing up too, like sometimes I'll mess up, like, and you'd be like, actually that sounded good, dude, like keep it that way. And
Yeah, like if I write a melody a certain way,
Yeah.
and he kind of approaches it and is trying to do the way I have it on the little demo, but he comes up with something different. That happens all the time.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like, actually, no,
also-
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And also like I'll throw my own ideas in there too on what I think we should do as well.
Right.
I would say we don't run into that problem lyrically a crazy amount, because when I write, I purposely, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but as me as a writer, I purposely think of, it needs to be honest, it needs to be me and kind of my personality, but like this has to connect to people, and it has to be something that's, you know, if we wanted people to appeal to, you gotta have to have that consciousness, you know, not necessarily go all the way and just give people what they want.
Right.
But it can't just be like if I'm going through something hard and I can't just write like super specifically like this. It's like, let's make it a little vague. Let's open it up a little bit. And maybe
Right.
we're just sad in general and lonely, not necessarily, you don't know if he's missing, you know, somebody who lost, like who passed on, or maybe somebody who.
Everybody looks at it in a different way. Like everybody is seeing this song in a different way, in their own movie.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think that way.
Yeah. Like if he can't sing it, then not everyone, like everyone in the crowd's not going to sing it.
Yeah, right.
Kind of space. Now you guys have been playing around Texas for a long time here. But like you guys have been going up to Nashville and getting a little bit more national exposure.
Yeah,
How is that
for
like
sure.
working out right now? What's that process like?
Man, we've recorded all of our records as Shotgun Rider in Nashville. We first started out going to Farmland Studios over there, and then like Anthony was saying earlier, we recorded Palo Duro at Sound Emporium, and we recorded vocals and other stuff at Panhandle House in Texas.
It's cool, man. I mean, the first time we went, we were like really excited, and it was all brand new to us, and it's still kind of new to us. I mean, we probably made 4 or 5 trips. It's a different world out there, and we definitely don't fit in all the way out there. We don't fit in all the way over here either. So, but you know, we embrace that, and you know, our manager's up there, and he works for a great publishing company, so we're able to get in cool rights and stuff, and we're able to meet cool people and stuff. but it's just kind of it's just a different world, really.
Yeah.
Right.
And everybody's so supportive. I mean, over there, and it's great. For sure.
Now, like, obviously, there is in my opinion, like the whole Texas versus Nashville thing is it's just like made to make record sales. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of just drives both places where it's like, hey, we're enemies, but there is a little bit of a difference, obviously, between top 40 on both charts. Is it something like that? Does that even come into y'all's thought process of like which way should we go? Which way should I
Like musically or chart?
like
position?
sonically? You know what I mean? Like there is a difference, and I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, like the whole like don't half-ass two things, just full-ass one thing kind of sound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or do you guys feel like you guys can still do something that's unique enough that is able to
To go national.
really, yeah? Because I feel like there's some of this stuff does feel like it could be on national radio just as easily as.
One thing that I've
visual.
always told everybody, I mean, we're gonna take this thing as far as it can go. And
Yeah, I mean, I think if we can do that without compromising us, like when we go in the studio, those guys, they do A-list records or whatever, and we're not doing whatever 808s and kick drum beats, and we're not rapping, we're not doing
Right.
this. We do our own thing, but we still try to stay commercial, and we still try to make the production good. So yeah, I mean, I hope that we know. We're not gonna write like world country or anything like
No.
that. Not anything against that. I mean, if you like it, whatever. I mean, whatever people want.
that's
but,
just not us.
so I just kind of try to feel like we can be authentic as possible, and hopefully we can kind of fall into the mold of like this past record. So this when we were doing Palo Duro, John Party and Midland and Luke Combs and a bunch of these acts have been coming out that have been. We just showed Will Michael Morgan. A bunch of these acts have been coming out that were kind of like, hey, there's an alternative.
Right.
So, and you can still be commercially successful and not sell out or whatever to the industry. So,
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't want to admit that like there's bro country and Texas country,
Sure.
and like
It's lip service either way. Yeah.
there's plenty of that going like all the way around. Yeah, you guys are both from West Texas, small town. I feel like that's such a specific kind of experience. I grew up in Fort Stockton, so I feel like there's these when you're growing up in small town West Texas, like it's just a certain unique kind of experience. What was it like growing up in the Panhandle?
Growing up in the Panhandle.
Nazareth.
I'm from Nazareth, a small town called Nazareth, Texas. Anthony's from Dimmitt, Texas, from our side. Yeah, everybody knows where that is. Man, we're just a bunch of small town dudes, just like everybody else.
I don't know, it's definitely a shielded world, especially.
It definitely plays out in a lot of the writing too. You definitely hear a lot of West Texas and the Panhandle in the writing, especially in Palo Duro. Palo Duro is in the Panhandle, where we're from.
Yeah.
That's why we decided to call the album that.
Right. When I was growing up, and this is just like ignorance, but growing up in Fort Stockton, I always thought there's the Panhandle. There's only Amarillo and Lubbock.
How far?
And
Where's that? Where's Fort Stockton?
Fort Stockton's like an hour, kind of like an hour north of Alpine, hour
Okay.
south of Odessa.
Like lower West Texas.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so like growing up down there, I always thought Panhandle was just like Amarillo, Lubbock, and just nothing. And then like I had a friend who grew up in Levelland, and he was like, I kind of thought the same thing about West Texas, that there was like Odessa, Midland, and nothing between there and the border. You're right. And I'm like, no, I mean, there's like little towns all over the place. And he's like, well, it's the same way up here. And I don't know. It's just one of those things where in these areas, you just kind of think, how can anyone live out here?
Right.
But, I mean, I think it shapes the way you kind of view the world and kind of, I don't know. It's not necessarily like a pressure cooker or anything like that, but like the opposite of a pressure cooker, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's just like this, almost like a sense of independence out here, and like kind of do it yourself. I mean, it's just kind of the area we're from. It's like really, it's independent and it's kind of lonesome and everything's far away and it's secluded a little bit almost, where like, you know, you're the weird kid, rock kid in high school or whatever. Like in our, you know, that was me in high school. I was like the weird rock kid who played guitar. You know, no one else played guitar, and it's totally sheltered. Whereas you go from that to Fort Worth proper now, and it's just like, okay, wow, like I would be a different person if I grew up in the city.
Right.
I would have different values.
Yeah,
I would look at things differently.
Yeah, me and Anthony talked about that a lot. I mean, I grew up in Nazareth, like what I was saying, but I was telling Anthony beforehand, I lived in Plainview before that, and I was like, I wonder how I would have ended up if I would have lived in Plainview, Texas.
Right.
I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, it's even a bigger kind of thing than Nazareth. I mean, Nazareth is like secluded. Like,
Yeah, no, I'm definitely proud I grew up in a small town like Nazareth, though, for sure.
See, I think like in those, one of the things about the small town is the music you're exposed to is just like that top layer of culture, the MTV, VH1,
Yeah.
Top 40 radio. But then like whenever you do go to the city, I know like for me it was always like you go by Hastings or something like that. You're like, oh, what is all this shit? And you know, you pick out a record and that becomes like your favorite record until the next time you go. Like what was the like y'all's? You remember like the first kind of like a record you ended up buying where you're like, oh, you mentioned the straight out of the box, but you remember like the first stuff like you guys were buying that really made you believe in, oh, there's something
There's a
else
world
out there.
outside of here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is there music like that for you?
Well, I mean, so the first CD I ever got, so for Christmas one year, I think it was like back in 2003 or 2002 or whatever, I got a CD player for Christmas, and I got 2 country records with it. It was Alan Jackson's Greatest Hits CD and also Brad Paisley's Mud on the Tire CD. And man, I just listened to those 2 records the whole year long, just song after song over and over again. And that's kind of whenever I figured out whenever I could sing, really. I mean, it was before I started playing the guitar, but like just singing along with the records.
Right.
Like my parents even noticed it too, and they're like, Logan, you can sing and you don't even know it. Like,
Yeah. So, you know, talking with Randall King, I've noticed that too, because his new record, you know, he's talking about, you know, just driving around with his dad and cassettes going on and singing along, and that's like, it's amazing how many people start out that way and don't even realize they have a great voice, but they're just singing along to the radio. And I'm sure, like, if you're a parent, you're like, you believe in everything your kid does, but then like at some point you're like, there's a little bit of difference between him singing and me humming along too.
I think for me, like Logan comes from a very, like, his family's gospel and traditional country, and they kind of come from that area, and that's what you kind of grew up on. And I grew up more on, like, my dad was really big into like 80s rock, and my mom like 80s pop, I guess you would call it. I remember Cyndi Lauper records, and I remember my dad's Dio records, and Ozzy Osbourne is my like god to me. But you know, I grew up on that, and then when I didn't get into country music until I was in college. I mean, I was a rock kid in high school. I mean, I snuck out of high school to drive to Lubbock to watch Blackstone Cherry and Hinder at Jake's when it was all ages, and I would do that. I mean, that's when I knew like there's something outside of here. And then I got into like the emo scene, like Sales and Taking Back Sunday when I was in high school. That was huge. And like my 17th birthday, I flew to Dallas for the very first time to go watch Taking Back Sunday and 30 Seconds to Mars. And so like that was me. So that's how I was like, okay, that's what I want to do. This is outside of here. There's a big world outside of Denver, Texas. And then when I got to college, got into country music just from culturally and all my friends listening to like Pat Green and Randy Rogers. And then I realized that that's what the bars wanted to hear. And then I got into George Strait and Dylan, and then I just kind of slowly was like, okay, maybe I can do it country. Yeah. But yeah, I think rock records. My first rock record I ever bought was Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory. That was the first record I ever bought with my own money. I was like 11 years old. And then Puddle of Mud's Come Clean. So like all these like 3 Days Grace, debut albums. So like that era was when I was 12, 13, mowing lawns, and had $20, and we went to Walmart, and that was what was on the TV, and I wanted to be like that. And so that was my whole upbringing of like, okay, there's a big world outside of or whatever.
Right. Yeah. It's funny, like just how much I think like MTV isn't shaping the newest generation as much. It feels like people who grew up, people in their teenage years, 5 to 10 years back, and then obviously before that,
Definitely.
they had such a more of an impact on what you thought was cool and not cool. And now it's just like Teen Mom.
I know, definitely growing up, I always remember getting up early in the morning, 8 o'clock.
VH1.
8 o'clock would be the summertime, I'd be up or whatever, and for whatever reason at 8 o'clock in the morning, I guess I was just an early riser, but I'd get up and I'd watch VH1 and MTV music videos every single morning.
Yeah, I feel like they should bring back up the pop-up video.
Yeah,
Like the little.
That would be rad.
I mean, it's like a dream job just because you're just thinking of all the little things that happen in music videos.
Info nuggets.
Yeah. Little factoids.
But they don't do that anymore, I don't think. Well, I don't watch TV.
I don't either. We just stick with the Amazon and Netflix now.
Right. See, I don't think they do it all, but like that should be like on fucking YouTube.
Right.
But I don't know.
I guess people aren't making music
Music
videos
videos.
as much as they used to.
Yeah. All the music videos I've seen, they're either like more art project kind of stuff, or they're really just on like the local level of the lyric video.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the big thing now, is the lyric video. I still think like the coolest one I've seen is Whiskey Myers had one for Early Morning Shakes, where they were like going to the bar, but like all the lyrics were like on poster board, or like not necessarily poster board, but smaller pieces of paper, and like it would be kind of like a first-person view, and you just kind of were navigating through the crowd, and there'd be the lyric here.
That's
the
cool.
line
I think
here.
Wade Bowen did something like that with songs about trucks.
Yeah.
He has a music video, like Post-it notes.
Yeah,
On
see
the
that
bar
one,
top, I think I heard photographs or something. It was written in Sharpie, and that was like a cool concept. That's a cool way to do like an in-between music video and like not a boring lyric video where it's just a stagnant picture of you and like the fading out Comic Sans MS lyrics looking on YouTube, and you're like, how does this have 5 million views? What are you guys doing?
Right. Have you guys done any music video stuff?
We've got a few music videos.
We've done 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 of them.
What
Sway With Me. Actually, Sway With Me was our last one. The one before that was Dancing Without Me. And then-
I've seen that. Which one was it? I've seen one of them with like who was in it? Local songwriter dude.
Oh, you're thinking of Dance or
Speaking of
Drink,
Dancing,
yeah.
Adam Newman.
Yeah, that's the one I've
That was
never seen.
3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
We did one after that for Dancing Without Me, which was off of the Whirlwind EP. And then, like Logan said, Sway With Me was more like a follow us on the road kind of music video.
Yeah, see, like that kind of stuff right there is. I mean, I'm assuming that was not a massive budget, but you were able to get something
small.
kind of
Yeah,
real
something to get out there to everybody.
grassroots kind of.
That was really, our first big push really was the Dance or Dream music video that we did for Shock and Rider. And it did really well for us. Helped us get kick-started.
Yeah. Well, I think this record's pretty good. I want to see what y'all do next, because I feel like that's always that's always where I'm at. Where like, oh, that's a really good record. We'll
See what happens with it.
let's see what happens next. Let's see what.
You have a favorite song?
Steady as she goes.
Really?
I don't know. There's something really
Huh.
about that song where I'm like, it's just really the melody to it,
Sure.
just the rhythm where I just go, man, that's fucking.
That's a
I
vibe.
can't get it out of my head basically. But I do like what is it? I'm bad with song titles. I do like Nothing at All as well.
Huh.
Lucky Him.
I figured you'd be more of a sadder song.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like if you're, see, that's I don't know. I do like sad songs. I like all kinds of music and songs and whatnot. But I do like there's something about a catchy song that like I feel like a lot of people, as far as like if you're being a music critic or a journalist or whatever, there's something like where a lot of people look down upon that. Like if it's not like, you get what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of people who don't appreciate the pop aspects of music. And I'm like,
Right.
no, like that's what kind of makes a lot of good stuff good is the pop aspects, the sing alongable pieces of it, you know, the ear candy.
Yeah, we try to do both. I feel like, you know, we want the song to be catchy because that's what I like is catchy melodies and it's building lights, and we also don't want it to just be
We want it to have big good production, as well. Along with
meaningful lyrics. Try to go for all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, yeah. You guys ready to go get a beer?
Yeah, let's go do it, man. Glad you like the record, son.
Well, thank you guys for jumping on here.